Hello, yes, good morning. So today is 4th of February, the first day of the week, and since it's the beginning of the week, we are going to look at the charts from the weekly point of view. We want to see if there's any good trade that you can pick for the entire week. So there's something which I need to mention here before I begin. I want to mention there's a bonus which we are currently having. Here you need to go to the main site, and the bonus is 200% bonus, 200%. So it's called deposit bonus 200. What this means is you need to deposit at least 500 USD. So this is the thing here. We have this one. You have at least 500 USD, deposit at least 500, and then after that, these are the procedure here, and the last one. Then we also have terms and conditions here which you need to read even before you think about doing anything. Just ensure you read all this, have this information with you first of all before you think about applying for the bonus. Ensure you read everything. So there are only 12 clauses, so ensure you read all of them and start with this on the very top one. These are the most important one, that the bonus is still up to 28th, end of this month. And then the next one, the account which you are depositing money to has to be either Classic MT4, Classic MT5, or Classic MT. This one, Market Pro MT4 accounts. So it must not have been connected to this bonus, that one, and also this one. So we move on to what we have for today. We want to see if there are any good trades for the week, because we are just beginning the week and there should be like a weekly view of what is happening. We'll start with EURUSD, which is here, and I still have my lines just the same way I drew them last week. We had a resistance here, then the price went down, it came back up, then it went down, then it came back up, and then it went down, it came back up to the same place, and then it went down. So now we want price to again pull back up to this trend line here before we look for that sell. As it is, this looks like the correct place to sell from, but assuming I expand the charts like this, then there's something else which you will be able to see. Let me draw this here. If I expand the charts, you will see that actually there's a level here which could be a very good place to sell from. We have a resistance, a very good resistance all the way. Then there's that break up, and then there's that attempt to break below. There's a break below, we came back up, and this level has not been broken. So if you're looking at this chart at the moment, then this should be the place to sell from. You should be looking for a sell from within this zone here, and you expect price to move from that point towards this level here, 1.056 here. So as it is on the weekly chart, this week you actually are looking for a sell. You're supposed to sell it, have your take profit here, and should price break above, then as we've just said, we expect it to come back to this place here. I hope this should make some little sense that EURUSD this week we are looking for a sell, especially where the price is below this zone. But in case it closes above the zone we are looking for a sell from, then we expect it to extend higher towards this trend line here, the one that is at the very top. So that is it for the weekly. We are looking for a sell. We want to see the next pair, which is GBPUSD here. And on this chart, I was recommending a sell, but I'm going to change it now because the reason I'm going to explain why I'm changing it, why I'm no longer going to look for a sell from that chart. So as you can see, this is a very good support which was broken. Price came back up the same place, and then there was this one main candle that opened below everything, and then it closed above everything. Then after closing above this level, this week's candle, the previous week's candle, which was this, was actually an inside bar above a key place. So this could be a sign that we are headed up towards this place here. So the reason I'm saying these are good buy, why I'm looking for a buy, is because from the monthly point of view, there's a key level at the very top, which is there. We have a level at the very top there. This zone here is a key monthly zone, and therefore price is likely to come back to it before it retraces to the upper side, to the lower side. So on this chart, we are looking for this level. This is the key place to look for. If you are to look at this chart from the past, assuming you could get data from the past, you'll notice that this was a very good place for selling from. It was a support. Previously, it used to be a support. Then there was a break. Price came back up to the same place, and we expect price to again rise back up to the same place, which is there. So here on this chart, just expect price to be moving even higher. We have that. We are going to sell from that point. There is no sell there. So even on the monthly, you can see this was a pin bar for upward. Then the next candle was an engulfing candle, which actually closed above everything. So all these two, the first one, last month's candle, and also December's candle, were actually candles pointing upwards, which means the price is likely to move higher. So the best you should do, just wait for a retracement on the weekly chart. Wait for a retracement, maybe up to somewhere around here, up to around 1.2998. Then you pick a buy from that point. You should have a take profit at the very top, which is 1.4011, somewhere here. So GBP/USD, we recommend looking for a buy. Just wait for a retracement. You pick a buy from where I have my line here, and you should have a take profit at the monthly level, which is somewhere above, somewhere here. So we move to the next chart, which is USD/JPY. There, and I still have my lines the same way I had them last week. So on this chart, you can see there's this lower line. We have the lower one move, and then you also have the upper one. We mentioned that assuming price closes below 108.55, then this was the best place to sell from. But as you can see, instead the price just sent a tail to this line, and then it has embarked on a move to the upper side. This is still an indication that we are upward. So as long as we don't go below this level here, we are buying. As long as the price remains above support, a support, a support, you've seen that break, a support, a support, a support. As long as the price does not clearly go below it, this is the correct place to buy from. We actually took a buy from this point. We are still holding. We expect price to extend towards 110.51. Should break higher, retrace back to the same place, so that we can buy it. So the second time up to 114.32, the very top. So this indicator may appear to be contradicting whatever move we are seeing, but since you are depending on price action, this should be the correct place to. It's actually supposed to be a buy. Don't look for a sell based on this indicator alone. You should look for a buy, especially if price goes above 110.51, which is here. So I want to look at this chart from maybe another time frame, maybe 4 hours daily, to see if there's any trade. You can remember on the daily last week, we actually drew a line at this point there, and we recommended looking for a sell from somewhere there, which you're supposed to have a take profit. So on the daily chart, this is a very key level which has just been broken. The price is trying to rise above it. As long as the price does not close above this zone here, then this should be the correct place to sell from. We are still going to look for a sell. On the daily chart, there may be some sells, but according to the weekly chart, this should be a buy, which means we want price to break above the daily sell place, then retrace back to the same place you're supposed to sell from, so that you can buy it in line with the weekly. Something like this. So that will basically just be a resistance. Broken becomes a support and a very good place to buy from. And that buy, we have levels here. We also have levels at the very top there. which means assuming you pick a buy from this point, just expect price to move higher like that, then retrace back to the same place before it continues even higher, something like this. So a very good buy, it went up, should come back to the same place, we'll buy it for the second time towards 113.96. So we want to move to the next chart, which is SP500 is here, and this is how I had my lines like early last month, it was mid of last month. Price was approaching this zone and then it broke above it. We saw this as a retracement and we suggested that you're supposed to pick a buy from somewhere there, expecting that the price is going to move higher. So assuming you bought it just as you said, then you're supposed to remain in that trade. Just expect even a move even higher. There's a level there which has to be broken first before we extend to the level which I just shifted my line from. We have a line there, and then we also have a level there. So the reason I'm marking this as a potential retracement point is because previously was a support, then that support was broken. We are now a resistance, and then there's another place which is a very good resistance there. Then there's a break above the same place where we are selling from. So in case the price can clearly ascend above this level, which is 2813.0, then don't buy it immediately, rather wait for price to retrace back down, then you pick a buy from that point. So I'm going to give it a different appearance so we don't confuse it. We have that, we have all these places have been having a tick, but this is now an arrow pointing upwards. So we want price to retrace back, give us a buy signal here so that we can buy it from that point towards 2934.7. So if you bought it from this point here, then just remain upwards, remain long, don't get rid of that trade, expect price to extend even higher. So this, according to the daily, we want to see if there's the same setup on the weekly. SP500 there. Let's see this line here. I've not placed this line. This is ask line, the buying price. We want to remove it. So we go straight to the weekly, see if there's anything. So I hope you can remember last week I had a level there, and then I also had a level here. Then I marked the entire place as a zone like this. Then my reasoning at that time was that this is a good level which has been broken. Then there's a pin bar which is pointing upwards, and inside pin bar, and then I mentioned that should price come down back to this zone here, then you're supposed to have been looking for a buy from somewhere within here, expecting price to move up to this place here, and the next one should be at the very top. So if you bought it as you say, then just remain long, don't get out of that trade, expect price to extend even higher. We expect a move like this, then a retracement like that before we extend even higher, something like this. So either way, just expect price to be extending upwards, and in this case maybe the price may retrace back up to this place here. The price may want to retrace back up to around 2672.1. so you didn't buy it here, you can still place a pending buy limit there with your first take profit, and then the next one should be at the very top. So the next place to buy from on this chart is this, following the buy which you had previously there. So the same thing, just look the same way I'm looking at it from the weekly is the same way we looked at it from the daily chart. There's no big difference. All from the daily to weekly we are still looking for a buy. All charts are giving us a buy places. So we move to the next chart, which is Brent oil here, and I'm going to look at this chart from the weekly point of view, the very first thing. here. So something has just happened. As you can see, last week there's actually a pin bar that is pointing upwards, which means that the price is likely headed to the upper side. But because of this drop here, we only expect price to go only up to this place here. We have level 71.82 is a zone. So we mentioned last week that this is a key level, and that should price fail to close above it, then that was the correct place to sell from. So far as you can see, the price actually managed to close above the same place with the pin bar. There's an inside bar followed by an engulfing candle. This means that we are headed upwards like that. So the best you should do in this case is just look for a buy place. Ensure that you pick a buy from somewhere around here, around 61.33. Expect price to retrace up to this point, then you pick a buy from that point, and with that buy you should expect price to go up to this zone, the very one on top here. So on this chart, the best we are doing now is just we are waiting, place a pending buy limit here, and expect price to extend higher. Expect price to retrace, then you pick a buy from that point up to the zone at the top here. Like that. So according to this pin bar here, this indicates that we are still upwards. Therefore the best you should do is to just look for a buy to the upper side. So we want to look at it from the daily to see if the same level we wanted to sell it last week, if that's the same level you're supposed to buy from, is here. And these are our expectations for last week. The lines I'm currently leading at, these are what we expected. Like the price was supposed to break above, retrace down, and then bounce to the upper side. So that did not happen. Instead, it's now that the price has gone above this zone. So what this means now is that we wait for price to retrace back to the level that's just broken, like this. We want price to retrace back before we pick a buy from this point up to 86.12. If you're on the forward chart, then just wait for a retracement and then you pick a buy up to the very top. So we move to the next symbol, which is gold. And on gold, I'm not going to add much because the same thing I keep mentioning. I said this last week, I'm going to repeat it here now, that this is a very key level. We saw price ascend above it, so we wanted price to retrace. The Friday's candle, this candle, the one we saw on Friday, actually retraced down. Today's candle is also pulling back down. So should we see any clear buy signal around this point, around 1308.72 to 1304.99, then this will be the correct place to buy from. This will be the correct place you're supposed to buy from. Just wait for a retracement, a clear retracement, and then you look for a clear buy signal from within this zone, and you should expect price to move up to 1358.94. So this should make some little sense now, that as we mentioned, just as we mentioned previously, that this was like a cap forming. You can see this handle here, and this is the curved surface. We expect it to go up to the brim, the very top. So if you're on this chart, then just wait for a clear retracement, look for a buy from that point, and expect price to extend up to 1358.94, which is at the very top. This is what you expect for the entire week, a good buy up to 1358.94. So that should bring us to the end of today's overview. So far we've looked at just all the symbols we wanted to check. We've looked at Euro USD, where we are seeing a potential short-term sell, but should price close above 1518, then we expect price to extend up to this trend line. And then GBP/USD, last week's candle was actually an inside bar. This is an inside bar. So we want price to retrace up to 1.2999, somewhere here, so that we can buy it from that point to the upper side. So we move to the next one, which is USDJPY, and this one we are seeing a buy, especially if price can break above this zone here, 110.51. Should price go above, we wait for a retracement, then we buy it for the second time to the upper side. Then we move to the next one, SP500, we are still buying, and then gold, we are still buying. Brent oil, we've now turned into buyers. We want price to extend higher, retrace back, then we pick a buy up to 86.12. So that should bring us to the end of this over. There's something which I need to mention here just before we close this session, that assuming you deposit 500 USD into your account today, then you qualify for this bonus, which is 200% bonus. So 200% the amount you deposited. So what this means is that you need to open an account, verify your personal data, and then enable bonus for trading account, which should be this or the next one, and then you should fund your account, then you get the bonus. So other than those, there are these terms and conditions down here which you need to read. Ensure you read all this. It's necessary. Read all of them, try to understand everything before you apply for it. So thank you very much. That should bring us to the end of today's overview. See you again tomorrow at the same time.